Beneath the blazing Egyptian sun, as the golden sand shimmered like a sea of fire, a group of workers stood before a massive limestone ridge on the Giza plateau. The year was around 2500 BCE, and Pharaoh Khafre had ordered something that would defy time itself, a guardian that would watch over his eternal resting place, a creature born from both man and beast. No one knew the full vision that Khafre carried in his mind. Whispers spread among the workers. Tales of divine dreams sent by the gods themselves. Some said Khafre had seen a lion with a human face rising from the desert, staring toward the sunrise, its gaze filled with the wisdom of kings and the strength of the divine. Others believed the pharaoh wished to carve his own spirit into stone, so that even when his body was dust, his soul would guard Egypt forever. Day after day, thousands toiled under the sun, chiseling the living rock. Slowly, the rough edges took shape. The body of a lion, stretched and powerful, muscles frozen in eternal readiness. Above it, the face of a man emerged, serene yet commanding, lips pressed in eternal silence. The people began to murmur the name that would echo through the ages, Shisa, meaning living image. But something strange began to happen. At dusk, when the desert winds howled, some workers swore they heard faint murmurs from the carving, whispers in a tongue long forgotten. Others claimed to see eyes glint in the moonlight, as though the stone itself were alive, watching, guarding. Fear gripped them, but they continued, believing they were part of something greater than themselves. When at last the work was done, the Sphinx stood, a colossal guardian, staring eternally east toward the rising sun. It was not merely a statue, but a symbol of divine power, where human intelligence merged with animal strength, the perfect image of Pharaoh's godlike rule. And as centuries passed, empires fell, sands buried kingdoms, and even names were forgotten, but the Sphinx remained. Silent. Patient. Watching. A mystery carved in stone, guarding secrets that time itself dared not reveal. As the first light of dawn broke over the endless sands of Giza, the colossal Sphinx seemed to awaken. The sun's rays kissed its weathered face, casting a golden halo around its head, as if the heavens themselves were acknowledging its divine purpose. To the people of ancient Egypt, this was no mere monument of stone. It was alive, a sacred guardian that watched over both the realm of the living and the kingdom of the dead. They called it Horamake, Horus of the horizon, the earthly form of the sun god Ra reborn each morning. The Sphinx faced east, where life began anew with the rising sun, its gaze forever fixed upon the source of creation. Priests would gather before it at dawn, their chants echoing through the desert. May Ra rise, may Egypt prosper, may the Sphinx protect us. The creature's silent presence seemed to breathe with divine energy, a bridge between man and the gods. But not all saw the Sphinx as a blessing. Some whispered that it was a guardian spirit, bound by ancient magic to protect the secrets buried beneath the sands, secrets too powerful for mortal minds. Travelers at night claimed to hear soft hums from its base, like the low rumble of a lion's growl carried by the desert wind. A few even said they saw faint blue lights flickering in its eyes, as if Ra himself was watching through stone. Pharaoh Khafre's priests believed that as long as the Sphinx stood, Egypt would remain under divine protection. It became a symbol of balance, wisdom of man in the head, strength of lion in the body, a reminder that true power lay not in force alone, but in unity between mind and might. Generations came and went. Dynasties rose and crumbled. Yet, the Sphinx endured, half buried, half awake, guarding the horizon. Even when sandstorms covered its body and centuries of silence followed, its purpose never wavered. It waited, patiently, eternally, for those who still believed, those who dared to stand before it and ask the ancient question the desert always whispers. Who built you, and what do you guard? The Sphinx, of course, never answered. Its secret remained locked in stone, a mystery as timeless as the dawn it forever watched. Centuries passed. Dynasties fell like grains of sand through an hourglass, and the mighty Sphinx stood alone against time. The desert, jealous of its glory, began to reclaim what man had carved. Slowly, relentlessly, waves of golden dust crept up its flanks, swallowing its paws, its chest, and finally its shoulders. The guardian of Giza began to sink beneath the very sands it once ruled over. For generations, only its noble head remained visible, staring across the desert with that same silent, haunting gaze. The people who passed by whispered in awe and fear. Some believed it was a god turned to stone for defying Ra. Others claimed it was an ancient king cursed to guard his secrets forever. No one truly knew. Then came conquerors, Persians, Greeks, Romans, each gazing upon the Sphinx and wondering who had built such a wonder. Even they could not solve its riddle. The winds of time carried its story farther, twisting it into legend. By the time the Greeks arrived, they gave it a new name, Sphinx, meaning the strangler, after their own mythic creature who posed deadly riddles to men. The name stayed, though the truth behind it slipped deeper into mystery. But time is a cruel sculptor. Erosion bit into the limestone skin, storms clawed at its face, and men too left their scars. In one tragic tale, a fanatical ruler, angered by those who still worshipped the ancient god, ordered soldiers to destroy the Sphinx's sacred features. They struck its noble face with hammers, shattering its nose, defacing the guardian of ages. Still, the Sphinx endured. When Napoleon's soldiers marched into Egypt thousands of years later, they too were awestruck. Beneath the scorching sun, they brushed away sand from the Sphinx's shoulders, revealing more of its colossal body. Yet even with modern tools, no one could explain how it was built or why it had been made. The deeper they dug, the greater the mystery grew. To this day, the desert keeps its secret. Beneath the paws of the Sphinx, some say hidden chambers lie, perhaps scrolls of forgotten wisdom, perhaps the tomb of a god-king. But the Sphinx does not speak. It merely watches, its face eroded but its gaze eternal, a riddle carved in stone, guarding time's oldest truth. The centuries rolled on, and the Sphinx remained, silent, weathered, yet unbroken. Empires came and went like mirages in the desert. Pharaohs turned to dust, kingdoms faded to myths, but the stone guardian stood, half-buried yet undefeated, its eyes still fixed on the rising sun. Travelers from distant lands came to see it, poets and philosophers stood before it in awe. The Greeks wove new tales, calling it the Sphinx, a creature of riddles and doom. In their stories, it sat upon a mountain, asking travelers a question none could answer, and devouring those who failed. Only Oedipus solved its riddle, and with his answer, the beast perished. Yet, even in that tale, the mystery of the Sphinx lived on, a symbol of wisdom wrapped in danger, truth hidden beneath silence. As the centuries turned to millennia, explorers, scholars, and dreamers from every corner of the world returned to the sands of Giza, drawn to its power. Some came seeking history, others sought secrets, lost chambers, hidden treasures, the truth of the builders. They brought tools, lights, and machines, but the Sphinx remained unmoved. It revealed only what it wished, and kept its oldest secrets buried beneath the desert's golden veil. Even today, under the blazing Egyptian sun or the cool silver of the moon, the Sphinx seems alive. The wind whispers through its ancient scars, and the sands drift like time itself at its feet. It has seen gods rise and fall, languages born and forgotten, and yet it watches, patient, eternal. And in its silence lies a message for all who dare to look closely. Not every mystery is meant to be solved. Some are meant to be understood. The Sphinx teaches us that true power is not in conquest, but in endurance, not in speaking, but in knowing when to remain silent. Like the guardian of Giza, we too must learn to face the storms of time without losing our purpose, to endure change without surrendering who we are. For long after our words fade and our footprints vanish, it is our strength, our wisdom, and our silence that will speak for us, just as the Sphinx has, for 5,000 years.